Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another tape in my subliminal series. Listen up, because I'm about to tell you something that will change your entire approach to success. Discipline beats motivation every single time. Motivation is a temporary high, a fleeting feeling that fades away when the going gets tough. You can't rely on motivation to get you to the finish line. There's just an emotional burst that fades when life throws challenges your way. Now, discipline, on the other hand, is what separates the winners from the quitters. Discipline is consistent. It's the foundation of every successful person's journey. When you're disciplined, you show up no matter what. You grind when you're tired. You work when you don't feel like it. You stay focused even when the world tells you to take a break. Motivation will let you down when you're exhausted, distracted, or unmotivated. Discipline forces you to push through when every part of you wants to quit. Discipline doesn't care about feelings, it cares about results. You need to develop it because when life gets tough, it's discipline that keeps you going. Forget relying on motivation. Build the habits, stay consistent, and let discipline take you where others can only dream of going. That's the real secret. Motivation is often seen as the spark that ignites action. It's the fuel that gets you excited about your goals. And when you're motivated, everything seems possible. You wake up with energy, you hit the gym, you work harder, and you feel like you can conquer the world. But motivation, as powerful as it can feel, is a fleeting emotion. It's a burst of enthusiasm that, no matter how intense, will always fade away sooner or later. It's unpredictable, and it doesn't stay with you when things get difficult or when life demands more from you than you're willing to give in the moment. This is where discipline comes into play. Unlike motivation, which relies on how you feel at any given moment, discipline is the force that pushes you to keep going when the initial excitement has worn off. Discipline is not based on emotional highs or lows. It's rooted in commitment and the ability to do what needs to be done, regardless of your current emotional state. Where motivation might give you a boost, discipline sustains you through the long haul. It doesn't care about your mood, your energy levels, or your mindset. It simply demands that you take action, whether you want to or not. When motivation runs dry, many people fall into the trap of doing nothing. They wait for the next motivational moment to come around, hoping that the drive to succeed will suddenly return. But that's a dangerous game to play because motivation doesn't work on a schedule. And when you need it the most, when obstacles arise, when you're tired, when you feel like giving up, motivation won't be there to carry you through. That's where discipline shows its true strength. Discipline is reliable. It's a daily practice. It's about showing up even when it feels inconvenient or uncomfortable. Discipline is what gets you to do the work day after day without the need for some external push or emotional boost. Think about the successful people you admire, the ones who consistently perform at the highest level. They don't rely on motivation to fuel their success. They've built their lives around discipline. They have ingrained habits, routines, and strategies that ensure they continue making progress no matter what. They understand that motivation comes and goes, but discipline is the thing that will always be there, keeping them on track and moving forward, even when motivation is nowhere to be found. It's easy to get swept up in the excitement of a new project, especially when you're motivated. At the start, everything feels fresh and your energy is high. But once the novelty fades and the grind sets in, the real test begins. Are you going to quit when things get tough? Or will you rely on discipline to carry you through the rough patches? Most people give up after the first few setbacks because they're waiting for that initial burst of motivation to return. But those who build discipline into their lives don't wait for motivation to strike. They keep going because they know that results come from consistency and perseverance, not from waiting for the perfect emotional state. Discipline is the skill that enables you to continue moving forward even when motivation is nowhere in sight. It's not flashy or exciting, but it's the quiet power that turns small, consistent efforts into monumental success over time. The difference between those who achieve their goals and those who don't is often a matter of discipline. It's the ability to keep showing up even when the passion fades, even when obstacles appear. Motivation can't guarantee long-term success, but discipline will. And when motivation fades, discipline will always step in and ensure that you continue to push forward one step at a time until the job is done. When motivation is in full swing, it's easy to believe that you're going to achieve your goals. That's the trap. Motivation is temporary. It's an emotional wave that rises and falls. It's discipline that ensures you're still working toward your goal, even when motivation is long gone. Discipline gives you the structure, the framework, and the unwavering commitment to push through the hard times. It's the difference between talking about success and actually achieving it. You can't wait for motivation to show up every time you need it. You need discipline, because when motivation is a distant memory, discipline is the one thing that will keep you on track and moving forward. There will always be days when motivation is lacking. Life gets in the way, distractions occur, and you might feel like throwing in the towel. But this is where the true power of discipline comes in. Discipline is what you rely on when motivation lets you down. It's the unsung hero of success, the quiet force that propels you toward your goals, even when the initial excitement fades. And this is why discipline beats motivation every time. Discipline drives results even when you don't feel like it. This is the fundamental truth that separates those who reach their goals from those who constantly fall short. Motivation is often seen as the key to achieving success, but the reality is that motivation is unreliable. It comes in bursts, sometimes when you least expect it, and sometimes when you need it the most, it's nowhere to be found. But discipline, on the other hand, is always there. It's the thing that gets you up in the morning even when your mind is telling you to stay in bed. It's the thing that gets you to the gym even when you're exhausted. Discipline doesn't care about how you feel. It's about doing the work, regardless of your emotion. The truth is, results don't come from feelings. They come from action. And if you're waiting for motivation to show up every time you need to take action, you're going to be waiting a long time. Motivation can't be relied upon to keep you consistent. It can't be relied upon to get you through the tough times when you're feeling down, tired, or discouraged. That's where discipline shines. Discipline is the steady force that pushes you forward even when you don't want to move. It doesn't matter if you're tired, if you're distracted, or if you're feeling overwhelmed. Discipline is about pushing past those feelings and doing what you have to do, no matter what. Think about the days when you don't feel like working. Maybe you didn't get enough sleep, maybe the weather is bad, or maybe life threw you a curveball that left you feeling drained. It's in those moments when discipline becomes the most important factor in your success. On those days, motivation will be nowhere to be found. You won't feel the excitement or drive to get things done. But discipline doesn't need excitement. Discipline needs you to show up, to do the work, to focus on the end goal, and to keep going even when the enthusiasm is gone. It's the ability to do what you know needs to be done, even when your body or mind wants to quit. Motivation is like a fire that burns hot and fast, but eventually burns out. It's the fuel that gets you started, but it's discipline that keeps the fire burning. Without discipline, motivation will never lead to real, sustained results. Motivation might get you to work hard for a few days or a few weeks, but it's the power of discipline that ensures you stay on track for the long haul. It's the routine you build, the habit you create, and the commitment you make to yourself that brings about lasting success. Successful people understand that the key to achieving their goals isn't about relying on motivation. It's about developing discipline. The daily grind, the small, consistent actions, and the dedication to do what needs to be done, even when it's uncomfortable, is what creates the results. It's in those small, seemingly insignificant moments when you choose to take action, even when you don't feel like it, that success is built. Think about athletes, entrepreneurs, or anyone who has achieved greatness. What do they all have in common? It's not that they are motivated all the time. It's that they've built discipline into their lives. They have routines, schedules, and habits that ensure they keep progressing, no matter how they feel. They understand that motivation is just a temporary burst, but discipline is what will get them to the finish line. Discipline is the thing that gets you out of bed early, gets you working on your goals, even when there's no immediate reward, and gets you back on track after you've hit a setback. There will be days when you simply don't feel like working, when your body is tired and your mind wants to quit. Those are the days that define you. If you rely on motivation, you'll let those days slip away and nothing will get done. But if you rely on discipline, you'll push through those moments, take action, and continue to make progress. It's not about waiting for the right moment or the right feeling to come along. It's about showing up and doing what needs to be done, regardless of your mood or circumstances. Discipline is about doing the work even when you're not in the mood, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's hard. The reality is that success doesn't come from bursts of motivation. It comes from consistent, disciplined effort. Every time you show up and do the work, even when you don't want to, you're building the results you want. It's the compound effect of consistent discipline that creates long-term success, not the temporary high of motivation. The ability to keep working toward your goals when motivation is nowhere to be found is what separates the winners from the rest. Discipline doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for the perfect moment. It doesn't care if you're tired, frustrated, or stressed. It simply demands that you keep moving forward. And when you commit to that level of discipline, that's when results start to take shape. Results aren't built on motivation. They're built on the consistent effort that comes from discipline. When you're disciplined, you just talk about your goals, you make them happen regardless of how you feel. Motivation fades in tough times, but discipline pushes through. This is a critical distinction that everyone needs to understand if they want to succeed at anything. Motivation, as powerful as it can feel when you're riding the wave, is fleeting. It's like a rush of energy that comes and goes based on your mood, external circumstances, or even a momentary burst of inspiration. But life isn't always going to be filled with moments of inspiration, and the path to success is rarely smooth. In tough times, motivation tends to disappear just when you need it most. That's when discipline steps in, ready to do the heavy lifting when motivation checks out. When you're chasing your goals, the road ahead often becomes difficult. There will be challenges, setbacks, and obstacles that will test your resolve. You might encounter failure, face criticism, or just experience days when everything feels off. On those days, motivation will be nowhere to be found. You won't feel that fire inside you to push through, to keep going, or to keep grinding. Motivation is a luxury. It's something that can fuel your journey, but it's not reliable. It's tied to your emotions and can be easily knocked off course when things don't go according to plan. This is exactly why discipline is so important. Discipline doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care if you're frustrated, tired, or defeated. Discipline is the ability to do the work regardless of how you feel in the moment. It's the choice to show up every day, regardless of the emotional state you're in. When things get hard and motivation leaves, discipline takes its place, ensuring that you continue to take action, continue to push forward, and Continue to build toward your goals. When life gets tough, it's easy to give up. Most people do. They stop when things get difficult because they're waiting for motivation to come back. They wait for that spark, that feeling that tells them to keep going. But what they don't realize is that relying on motivation is like waiting for the wind to blow in your favor every time you need it. It's not consistent, and it will leave you stuck when you need it the most. Discipline, on the other hand, is a constant. It's the steady hand that guides you through the storm, ensuring that you stay on track even when the winds of motivation are nowhere in sight. There's a saying that goes, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. What does that mean? It means that in the face of difficulty, the people who achieve great things are the ones who refuse to quit, no matter how hard it gets. And this is where discipline makes all the difference. It's the discipline to keep showing up, to keep doing the work, to keep your eyes on the prize, even when it feels like everything is against you. It's the internal commitment to stay focused, to stay consistent, and to keep making progress one small step at a time, even when motivation has disappeared completely. Most people give up at the first sign of difficulty. They start strong, they feel motivated, and they believe in their ability to succeed. But when the inevitable challenges arise, when they face failure or disappointment, their motivation evaporates. They stop showing up, they stop putting in the work, and they allow their dreams to slip through their fingers. This is why so many people fail. They never develop the discipline to push through the tough times. They're looking for that emotional high that comes from motivation, but they don't understand that the real magic happens when you push forward despite not feeling motivated at all. Discipline is about creating a routine and sticking to it no matter the circumstances. It's about making the decision to keep going when your body and mind tell you to stop. It's about finding the strength to move forward even when the path ahead seems unclear or difficult. When you rely on discipline, you're not waiting for the perfect moment to take action. You're not hoping for a burst of motivation to push you through. You've already committed to doing the work no matter what. When motivation is nowhere to be found, discipline will always be there. It will carry you through the tough times, help you maintain focus, and ensure that you continue progressing even if the progress is slow. The key to success is the ability to keep moving forward in the face of adversity, to continue putting in the work even when you don't feel like it. It's discipline that will keep you on track even when motivation fades into the background. The reality is that tough times will come. Life will throw obstacles your way, and there will be moments when you feel like giving up. But it's in those moments that your true strength is tested. If you've built discipline into your life, if you've made the decision to show up regardless of how you feel, then those tough times won't defeat you. They'll only make you strong. You'll learn to rely on the unwavering commitment that discipline provides, and you'll find a way to keep pushing forward no matter what. Motivation is a temporary force that helps you get started, but it's discipline that will keep you going, especially when things get hard. It's the foundation of success, and it's the reason why some people achieve their goals while others fall short. When the going gets tough, discipline is the force that keeps you moving, even when motivation is long gone. Success is built on habits, not emotions. This is something that most people overlook when they chase after their goals. They get caught up in the excitement of a new venture, the rush of motivation, or the emotional highs that come with setting big dreams. But here's the truth. None of that matters in the long run. What truly determines whether you achieve your goals is not how you feel in the moment, but the habits you form and the consistency with which you pursue them. Emotions come and go, but habits are what create long-term success. The difference between success and failure often lies in your daily routines. When you wake up each day, the actions you take are shaped by the habits you've built, not by how you're feeling. Motivation, inspiration, or excitement might get you started, but it's discipline and the ability to stick to a routine that will carry you through to the end. Successful people don't rely on motivation to keep them going. They rely on their habits. They've structured their lives in a way that ensures they are constantly working toward their goals, even when their emotions don't match the intensity of their aspirations. It's easy to think that you need to be motivated all the time to succeed. It's easy to fall into the trap of waiting for that perfect moment when you feel fired up to take on the world. But the reality is that motivation won't always be there when you need it most. There will be days when you're tired, discouraged, or simply not in the mood to put in the work. It's in those moments that your habits will save you. When motivation is nowhere to be found, your habits will push you forward. They will carry you through the hard times, ensuring that you continue making progress regardless of your emotional state. Habits are the foundation of consistent action. They're the small, seemingly insignificant actions that add up over time and lead to big results. Successful people don't just have a burst of motivation and then fade away. They've built habits that keep them moving forward day after day. Whether it's a habit of working out, reading, writing, or any other task related to their goals, their success is built on the consistency of their efforts, not the intensity of their emotion. Think about the habits that shape your day. Are they leading you towards success? Are they helping you build the life you want? Most people's habits are dictated by their emotions. If they feel like working hard, they do. If they don't, they don't. This type of approach leads to inconsistent results and ultimately failure. The truth is, success doesn't come from doing something once in a while when you're feeling inspired. It comes from doing it every day, regardless of how you feel. The secret to achieving your goals is simple. Create habits that move you closer to your success. It's about setting yourself up for success, even on the days when you don't feel like it. When you build the right habits, you don't have to rely on motivation to keep going because your routine will ensure that you take the necessary steps every day. Your habits become the autopilot that keeps you moving forward even when your emotions are telling you to quit. Creating good habits isn't easy. It takes discipline, consistency, and time. But once you build these habits, they become second nature. You don't have to think about whether you'll work out, whether you'll write, whether you'll study, because it's already a part of your routine. You've committed to it and you follow through. You do it because it's who you are, not because you're waiting for motivation to show up. People often think that success is about making big dramatic changes or taking massive leaps. But the truth is, success is built on the small daily actions that compound over time. It's about focusing on the things that move you closer to your goals, even when they don't feel like they're making a huge impact. Over time, those small actions accumulate, and before you know it, you've achieved something incredible. But none of this happens without consistent effort, and that effort is driven by the habits you form. The habits you create today will determine your future. If you're committed to building habits that lead to success, then your future is bright. But if you're stuck in a cycle of relying on motivation and waiting for the perfect moment, you'll always find yourself starting and stopping, making little progress in the process. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is often as simple as their ability to build and maintain the right habits. Success isn't about waiting for inspiration or relying on fleeting emotions. It's about creating a structure that ensures progress every single day. The power of habits cannot be overstated. When you make them a part of your life, they keep you moving toward your goals without needing constant motivation. They provide the consistency that success requires, even when you don't feel like it. And in the end, it's those consistent, small actions that will bring you the results you've been working for. Discipline doesn't care about how you feel, it cares about action. This is one of the most powerful aspects of discipline that sets it apart from motivation. Motivation is often dictated by how you feel at any given moment. Some days you'll wake up feeling excited, driven, and ready to tackle your goals, while on other days you'll feel tired, uninspired, or just mentally drained. Motivation comes and goes in waves. One day it's there, the next it's not. But discipline is consistent, and it's built around the idea that action, not feelings, is what creates results. When you're trying to achieve something, there will be days when motivation is nowhere to be found. On those days, it's easy to give in to how you feel and skip the work you know you should be doing. You might tell yourself that you'll do it tomorrow when you're feeling more motivated, but that's exactly where so many people go wrong. They wait for motivation to appear, and when it doesn't, they do nothing. Discipline doesn't give you the luxury of waiting. Discipline forces you to act even when you don't feel like it, because it knows that progress is built on consistent effort, not emotional states. Feelings are unreliable. They change based on external circumstances, how much sleep you got, or how much stress you're under. They can shift in an instant. And when you allow your actions to be guided by how you feel, you're setting yourself up for inconsistency. Sometimes you won't feel like working or doing that one extra set at the gym or finishing that project. On those days, if you rely on motivation, nothing will get done. But if you rely on discipline, you'll push yourself to do what's necessary, even when your mind is telling you to quit. Discipline says do it anyway, even if you're not in the mood. It makes no exceptions for how you feel. If the work needs to be done, you do it. This is the foundation of success in anything. Whether you're building a business, training for a race, or working toward a personal goal, you can't afford to be at the mercy of your feelings. The successful people in life are the ones who develop the discipline to show up every day, regardless of their mood. They don't let their emotions dictate their actions. They make a commitment to themselves to keep working even when it's tough. They don't wait for the perfect conditions or the perfect emotional state to start working toward their dreams. They act no matter what. Think about the people who inspire you the most, the ones who have achieved extraordinary things. Do you think they waited around for motivation to come knocking every day? Of course not. They did the work day in and day out, even when they didn't feel like it. They understood that success comes from the ability to act no matter the circumstances, and that discipline is the tool that makes that possible. On the flip side, people who rely on motivation are the ones who only act when they feel good. They'll work hard when they're excited, but the moment the enthusiasm fades, so does their effort. This leads to inconsistency, and ultimately it leads to failure. Motivation is like a fuel that burns bright but burns out quickly. If you rely on motivation alone, you'll find yourself burning out, unable to keep up the pace when things get tough. But discipline? Discipline doesn't burn out. It keeps going because it's not driven by feelings, it's driven by commitment, by the understanding that your success depends on what you do every single day, not on how motivated you feel. When you have discipline, you don't need to wait for inspiration or motivation to strike. You've already made the decision to act, regardless of how you feel in the moment. That's what makes discipline so powerful. It doesn't care about whether you're tired or stressed or whether the conditions are ideal. It cares about getting the job done, and it won't let you off the hook just because you don't feel like it. It's this no excuses mentality that leads to the results that so many others fail to achieve. Most people get stuck in the cycle of motivation. They wait for that feeling of excitement to push them forward. When motivation is high, they work hard, but when it dips, they slack off or stop entirely. But discipline teaches you that feelings can't be trusted to carry you across the finish line. Only consistent action can do that. When you stop relying on motivation and start building discipline, you're creating a structure for success that doesn't fluctuate with your emotion. You're making your actions a non-negotiable part of your routine, regardless of your feelings in the moment. Discipline requires strength. It requires a mental commitment to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's about pushing through the discomfort, ignoring the excuses, and doing what you know is necessary to reach your goals. While motivation may give you the initial burst of energy to start something, discipline is what will see it through. And that's the difference between achieving greatness and falling short. Discipline builds momentum when motivation falls short. This is a concept that anyone striving for success must understand deeply. Motivation can kickstart your journey, give you the initial burst of energy, and make you feel like you're on top of the world. But motivation is fleeting. It's not something you can depend on every day. You can't wait around for motivation to strike, because in the real world, there are days when motivation won't show up. On those days, it's discipline that keeps you moving forward. When you rely on motivation, you're setting yourself up for inconsistency. Motivation is an emotional response to something, and emotions are unpredictable. One day you feel unstoppable, and the next day you're dragging yourself out of bed. That's where discipline steps in. Discipline doesn't depend on how you feel. It's not governed by emotions or external circumstances. It's about doing the work, whether you're excited or not, whether you're tired or energized, and whether you feel like it or not. Discipline ensures that you stay on track even when motivation fails you. Momentum is built through consistency, and consistency comes from discipline. The more you show up and do the work, the more momentum you gain, even when the going gets tough. This momentum is what keeps you moving forward when the excitement of starting something new fades. It's the compound effect of discipline, small actions repeated day after day, that eventually leads to massive results. Each time you push through, even when you don't feel like it, you're reinforcing the habit of discipline, which in turn creates momentum. When you rely on motivation, your success will always be at the mercy of how you feel. But when you develop discipline, you control your actions, and you don't let your feelings dictate your progress. The key to momentum is the ability to act even when it's difficult. Motivation might help you get started, but discipline is what builds the foundation for sustained effort. Without discipline, you'll find yourself giving up after the initial excitement wears off. You'll stop showing up, and the momentum you once had will dissipate. Think of discipline as the engine that drives you forward. It's the engine that keeps running even when the fuel of motivation runs out. With each action you take, no matter how small, you build upon the momentum you've already created. Over time, that momentum snowballs, and what once felt like a huge effort becomes second nature. The work becomes easier, not because it's changed, but because you've developed the discipline to keep pushing forward day after day without needing the crutch of motivation. This is why many successful people seem like they're always moving forward, always progressing. It's not that they're constantly motivated or excited. It's that they've built the discipline to push through the moments when motivation fails them. They don't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect feeling. They've created a routine, a system that doesn't rely on motivation to move them forward. Their success is a result of the momentum they've built by showing up, doing the work, and committing to their goals every single day. When you develop discipline, you become someone who doesn't need to wait for the right mood to take action. You take action because you know that it's the right thing to do. And that action, no matter how small, is what builds momentum. This is where most people fall short. They get excited about a new project or goal, but they rely on motivation to keep them going. The minute that excitement fades, they stop. The real power comes from the ability to act even when you don't feel like it. And it's through that repeated action day after day that you begin to build the momentum necessary to create long-term success. Without discipline, there's no consistency. Without consistency, there's no momentum. And without momentum, there's no real progress. Momentum is what makes things easier over time. The more you work, the more you build your skills, the more you gain experience, and the more progress you make. What started as a tough task becomes something you can do almost automatically. Discipline creates the cycle of consistent work that builds momentum, and momentum is what carries you to your goals. In conclusion, motivation will always be a temporary solution to getting you started, but discipline is what builds the real momentum that leads to sustained success. Motivation will come and go, but when you rely on discipline, you've built a foundation that ensures your continued progress no matter how you feel. You don't need to wait for motivation to move forward. Instead, you create the momentum through your consistent actions, and the momentum itself will carry you through the tough times when motivation is nowhere to be found.